News starts right now.
And happening right now, a storm countdown for San Antonio, but there has already been action on the radar today. The last weekend of Fiesta, Election Day is tomorrow. So let's get right to Adam Caskey to time out these chances. Adam.
Yeah, and so far fairly quiet around the Alamo City, but we are seeing development elsewhere and upstream where the wind and storms are coming from. So we have one severe thunderstorm. It just exited Seguin. Seguin, you're in the clear. It's moving in on Gonzales right now. This could have some quarter-size hail, so 1 inch in diameter, and potentially some wind gusts around 60 miles per hour. This is just south of Luling. This is headed east from Seguin on into Gonzales. Should make it to Gonzales, the hail at least. I'm going to do the hail part of it. The hail making it to Gonzales by 6:25 p.m. So within the next 30 minutes, you're going to have that. Now, I want to zoom out and go off to the west because over the past hour and a half, you'll notice a trend here of development in the hill country that starts to stretch westward. So Kendall County getting a lot of good soaking rain, some lightning, nothing severe, maybe pea-sized hail, but nothing damaging. And then we go farther to the west and we have some strong to severe thunderstorms. Switching radar sites to get a cleaner look at it. And you see this development. So this is all right along the cool front that's dropping southward. Here's the cold front. It's stretching right through the hill country. And that front is slowly dropping southward. And as we often talk about, these fronts are the triggering mechanisms for showers and thunderstorms, helping to lift the air. And that's what we're seeing. So the front is activating right now. Not only that, notice the general motion of these showers and storms are to the east and southeast. So I'm expecting more storms to develop here in the hill country and then move to the east and southeast into San Antonio, and even some development I think would first come from basically Bandera County and Medina County and parts of Kerr County move into San Antonio. Also, our own development overhead, of course, is still possible, especially from the outflow boundary from that storm in Seguin. But that's what we have going for us at the moment. The primary risks as we go through the night, wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour and hail, 1 to even 2 inches in diameter possible. There is the chance, of course, as usual, with our gully washers, these downpours, that we could have some street flooding out there. And the typically flood-prone low water crossing areas could definitely have some rising water. So that's something to watch for you. We'll be back with the latest futurecast and kind of time out more of this rain. But bottom line, Myra, I really think by midnight, the threat is long gone out of San Antonio. And big, noticeable changes for the weekend. Kind of unbelievable for this time of year.
Yeah, unique Fiesta weather for sure. All right, we'll touch base with you in a few minutes. Thanks, Adam. Now to a developing story we're keeping an eye on. Late this afternoon, we learned that a Bexar County Sheriff's Office deputy is facing murder charges after a 46-year-old inmate was found dead in jail. 20-year-old jailer Clemente Lopez is accused of letting other inmates assault an inmate, Francisco Bazan. Investigators say that Lopez opened the cell door, allowing a group of inmates to attack Bazan, who died from his injuries. Lopez resigned after the incident and was arrested. His bond has now been set at $500,000. This is the 5th deputy from the agency arrested this year.
I like him. He's doing pretty well, so he needs to continue to do what he's doing. Pop has always passed down that torch and put his hands on those who can lead something, you know what I mean? So I got good hopes in this new person that we got.
Reaction coming into the huge news all day long that Greg Papovich is stepping down as Spurs head coach. 3 decades with the silver and black, 5 NBA championships, and an incredible legacy. But Pop isn't leaving the Spurs altogether. KSAT Sports' Mary Rominger joins us now. Mary, this possibility had to be in the back of all of our minds after what Pop's been through, but it's going to take a minute to get used to this for sure.
Yeah, it felt like the writing was on the wall, Myra, after, we saw months ago, 6 months ago, actually, to the day Greg Popovich suffered a mild stroke that sidelined him for over half the season. And just 2 weeks ago, we learned about a medical emergency that saw Popovich taken by ambulance after fainting at a local restaurant. So This is the direction it felt like things were trending, but absolutely still hard to imagine an NBA, a Spurs team without Coach Pop after 3 decades he spent in the role and 5 NBA championships. But Papovich will still be involved with the organization, serving as president of basketball operations, while Mitch Johnson transitions to head coach full-time. And what a roster Johnson is inheriting. Johnson has an opportunity here to shape a dynasty centered around Victor Wembanyama, Stephon Castle, and De'Aaron Fox. Johnson becomes the franchise's 19th head coach. The 38-year-old guided the injury-riddled Spurs to a 31-45 record in 77 games in Pop's absence this past season. The hiring of Johnson is said to maintain the continuity and through line laid out by Papovich and the rest of the front office. Johnson was hired in 2016 and had since served as an assistant with the organization. Now Spurs fans already on board with the team's pick of Johnson.
Did a good job substituting for Coach Pop, so just got to keep going what he's doing.
I think he's done a good job in light of the fact that Coach Pop wasn't there. So I look forward to more positive things. We have a great young team, and I know that Wemby's going to do good for us this coming season, so we're excited.
I think he's in the right position, and I think Mitch Johnson is a great candidate to be a coach for the San Antonio Spurs. So I think we're putting the Spurs in the right place to move on.
I feel like he'd be a good coach for us. You know, he's got some new experience before, but with him as our new coach of the San Antonio Spurs, it'd be a new asset for us.
That's awesome. Love to see the optimism. Well, coming up in sports, we'll have reaction from around the league to Coach Pop stepping down. Myra, back to you.
All right, Mary, thank you. Well, you saw all of those people out along the parade route today. It was a true Texas celebration right here in the heart of our city. More than 350,000 people showed up for the Battle of Flowers parade this morning. Our Avery Everett was there too along the parade route to bring you the second oldest parade in the country and this proud San Antonio tradition.
Viva Fiesta! This is the highlight, just being around all the people, all the noise, all the flowers and the sounds and the bands, everything, just hanging around with everybody and being with the community.
How long have you been coming to Battle of Flowers for?
I've been coming here since I was a little girl.
You've been coming to Battle of Flowers since you were a kid, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your favorite part?
I love seeing all the bands come through the parade.
I'm in school for education, so seeing all the students just warms my heart.
The princesses, the floats. I love that.
What time did y'all get out here?
We got here about 6:45 this morning.
I mean, you have the front row seats. This is a lucrative spot.
We got here around 5 o'clock in the morning just to set everything up, get everything ready.
This is my breakfast this morning. Delicious as always.
We get to come together as a family, get to spend all this time and see different people and just serve the community.
I just love all the colors and everybody's so happy.
I love all the people, the culture, the colors, the food, and being part of something that's very historical.
We are Pleasanton! We are Pleasanton! Viva Fiesta!
Chicken on a stick, it's a balanced breakfast during Fiesta, right? The forecast, of course, has been extra important this week with so many outdoor Fiesta events, but it is almost over, believe it or not. Tonight is the last night for a few Fiesta favorites, but the festivities at Market Square are still going strong. That's where we find our John Paul Barajas out there this evening. John Paul, what kind of crowd you got?
So, Myra, because it's Fiesta, you have to hop around. So we were at Market Square earlier. We've now come to Nyosa here at La Villita, and it's a little bittersweet. It's the last night of Nyosa, and Matt, if you could pan up a little bit, we have lots of clouds. The rain has stayed away. We felt a few raindrops, so like I said, bittersweet, but rain or shine, it's party time. That's what everyone's been telling me here, and I have my friends Alex and Valerie who have been talking to me about it. Why do y'all keep coming back to Nyosa, and why is it so much fun?
Well, as a native of San Antonio, it's good to come out, support, and teach traditions to everyone around. My students look forward to hearing my stories about Fiesta. And it's not hard. Bring a poncho.
Be prepared.
Be prepared.
What about you?
I come for a lot of the same things she said, but to hang out with our friends, to enjoy all the food, to support a party with a purpose, and Viva Fiesta.
So if the rain does come down, you're not taking off.
No, we'll go find a spot in the Great Hall over there. We've gotten rained out and hid in a porta potty. We'll figure it out, and then we continue to party after the rain.
Can I get a Viva Fiesta?
Viva Fiesta!
And before we go, I want to show you Steve with the pollo fajita tacos. These are amazing. We're going to toss it back to you because I got to eat all this amazing food. Peace out.
Let me know how it is, brother. Whoa. Good. Thanks, brother.
JP with another amazing Fiesta shirt, by the way. Man, he's had a good week. Good assignments. All right, let's take a look outside. I-35 at San Marcos. No major issues. You can see clouds are a little dark off in the distance. We're going to get another check of the forecast in a little bit, but so far traffic out there moving along just fine. Tomorrow is election day for a number of cities, not just San Antonio, and Balcones Heights is one of them. Collective bargaining rights for the city's police force is on the ballot. What voters will be deciding, our Garrett Berger will explain that coming up. But first, before we head to break, let's take a look outside with Live Cam. You heard Caskey talking about all that action on the radar and what we are expecting tonight. It's timing out pretty well for the last weekend of Fiesta. He's going to have an update in just a moment. Of course, we have the Flambeau parade coming up tomorrow, but don't forget, tomorrow is also Election Day across Bexar County. If you didn't vote early, tomorrow's the last day to get your vote in. For the first time in 8 years, San Antonians will have a new mayor leading the city. And this time around, there are 27 mayoral candidates on the ballot. Right now on KSAT.com, we have everything you need to know for tomorrow's election. You can scan that QR code there in the corner of your screen. That will take you to a list of polling locations and your specific sample ballot. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. tomorrow. And then beginning at 7 p.m., join me and Steve Spriester right here for our Election Night live stream. We will have election results as they come in. We'll also have a panel discussion with some local political experts about the potential impact of this election. Break down some analysis of the results as well as the city moves forward with new leadership. You can watch us on KSAT Plus and KSAT.com. And then, of course, we will have a full recap on the Night Beat tomorrow night after the Fiesta Flambo parade. Should police officers be able to bargain for a contract? That's the question facing the Balcones Heights voters about their 18-member police force. Proposition A on the Balcones Heights ballot would repeal the police union's power to bring the city to a negotiating table for a contract. Garrett Berger headed to the tiny San Antonio suburb to learn more about that.
The signs are all around Balcones Heights. Prop A, the big issue on the tiny city's ballot, but maybe not the biggest on every voter's mind.
And I'm not an authority on that one.
I really don't know too much. I haven't done a lot of research on it.
I haven't really decided for myself which one I want to vote for, so.
You still got to decide if you're going to vote.
So I may sit this one out.
Prop A would strip the Balcones Heights Police Officers Association of its power to collectively bargain for a contract. Without the contractual protections the union has now, it would be easier to discipline or fire officers and keep their pay down. Mayor Johnny Rodriguez Jr. has been pushing the change. He declined multiple offers for an on-camera interview, but said over the phone it's mainly about helping get the city's finances in order. Balcones Heights is running an overall deficit. It's on the hook for hundreds of thousands of dollars each year for the Wonderland of the Americas, and it no longer has red light camera revenue to rely on. But both the police chief and police union think there's more to the Prop A push than money.
It seems to be some type of retaliation against us.
Do you believe that the mayor has some kind of grudge against your department and your officers?
I 100% believe that. I would bet on that he does. We just have not been able to have a civil conversation, and I don't think we ever will.
The chief says the mayor has clashed with him and threatened his job, and the union passed a no-confidence vote in the mayor this fall. For his part, the mayor denied a personal vendetta, while also saying there have been problems with rogue officers, and Prop A would help the department be viewed better. though it may not be the same department the city has now.
If that passes, there's a very high possibility that officers will leave. We have to find that security in our job.
Even if Prop A passes, the union's current contract lasts into 2027. Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
All right, there's a lot on the radar right now, but we're waiting for things to develop here in San Antonio, Adam.
Yeah, and we're starting to see it in northwest Bexar County as the cool front drops in and slowly moves through. It's going to be developing more and more of these showers and thunderstorms. I'll get to the Helotes area shower in one moment. First, I want to focus on this. Moving through city of Gonzales and right along and south of I-10, headed towards Shiner, even Moulton area. We have this strong, severe thunderstorm, potentially some wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. See a lot of lightning. Of course, the sky is just lit up. All these white lines indicate the cloud to ground lightning strikes just within the past 15 minutes of time frame. Now, also farther to the west, this is headed right into Canyon Lake. Really good downpour for Canyon Lake. And you check this out, right along 281, Spring Branch, just up toward Fisher as well. There is some hail suspended within here, but this is likely not damaging hail. That's the key with this. We'll take a look at the 3D view and just try to isolate some of the hail here. And I'm going to redraw this just for this storm. Give it a little tilt there. I mean, you got to admit, beautiful, meteorologically speaking, beautiful looking thunderstorm there up near Spring Branch when you look at the technology, but also just isolating the hail within it. You see how it's really scattered around? It's not one defined chunk or hail core, one area of hail. It's spread out a little bit, and right now that would indicate to me it's a little bit smaller in size, as in it's not really causing damage, but you could have some nickel size hail, maybe even quarter size hail at most if this were to organize a little bit more. So that's something we'll be watching with this. Otherwise, we get down into Bexar County and the development has just begun near Helotes, Gray Forest. This is just west of I-10, but let's look at the radar over the past hour and you'll see that it just popped up there moments ago. So we're just starting to see the development, and even look at near Medina Lake, some new development. This is as the cold front drops southward. We get up into Bandera County. Yes, more of the same, new development. And this is the trend we're going to see, the radar filling in through the hill country and then that action sagging southward through the evening. Now, I really want to get off to the west. This is where we have some strong thunderstorms, likely some large hail within here, southern Edwards County, pretty rural area, and even into Valverde County, a very rural part of Valverde County, just outside of Comstock, but some very large hail. It gives you an idea of the capabilities of these thunderstorms. Really quickly, I want to show you how much rain has fallen so far, just over the past 12 hours. Check this out. Not far from Garden Ridge, just east of Bulverde, we've had a bullseye here of 2 inches of rain. That's just outside of Smithson Valley. This is the track that one of the severe thunderstorms took, but it also shows you what these storms are capable of producing in terms of beneficial rain. Now, even our Futurecast is on board with more development around Bexar County, Medina County, and surrounding areas, 7, 8 o'clock. And then as the front sags southward slowly this evening, it's going to drag the heaviest of the downpours and the strongest thunderstorms with it. And I think by midnight, we're really in the clear around here and have nothing to worry about. Tomorrow morning, just starting off gray and of course some puddles on the ground for King William, but otherwise great conditions. 7 a.m. 66. By noon, we're 74, then only 79 for the high temperature. And a northeasterly wind, low humidity all weekend long. Even for the Flambo Parade, temperatures falling through the 70s with a lack of humidity. And some scattered showers again starting Monday.
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
Humidity.
Mind-blowing.
We will so take it. Thank you, Adam. All right, Mary's back in the studio with us. Mary, we heard from a lot of Spurs fans today about their reactions to Pop stepping down, but reaction across the league as well.
Yeah, I've been glued to social media just to see the outpouring of love and reflection from everyone around the NBA as Coach Pop decides to step down as head coach of the Spurs after 3 decades. And Randolph's track and field superstar Taylor Nunes reaches the mountaintop of greatness after the break.
So it was just announced that Pop is stepping down as head coach. Oh, wow, he is.
Can I get y'all's reaction?
I mean, it might be good for him, for his health.
It's heartbreaking having been a Spurs fan since I was born.
And I just wish you well, you and your family, and we're going to miss you.
Overwhelming reaction to Greg Popovich stepping down as head coach of the Spurs in big board sports. There will never be another Greg Popovich. The Papovich effect in the NBA and basketball as a whole started in 1988 when he joined the Spurs as an assistant coach in Larry Brown's staff. Now, 37 years later, Coach Pop is the winningest NBA coach of all time with over 1,400 regular season wins as head coach of the Silver and Black. And he brought this city 5 NBA championships in a remarkable 16-year span. And just 2 years ago began Victor Wembanyama's transition to the NBA. However, 6 months ago, Coach Pop suffered a mild stroke and never returned to the Spurs sideline, officially stepping down today to transition to the Spurs president of basketball operations. Here's Coach Pop's statement. At 76 years old, Coach Pop says while his love and passion for the game remain, it's time to step down. He's excited, though, however, to continue to support the organization as a whole in his new role. Now, around the sport, overwhelming reaction to the news. Team USA thanking the 2020 gold medal winner. Coach Pop's alma mater, Air Force, congratulating him. Antonio Daniels had a nice message for Pop, calling Pop the GOAT. Tony Parker had a nice acknowledgement as well, and Victor Wembanyama tweeting a heartfelt message saying he's honored to have been a part of the legacy that Coach Pop has left. And we all saw how excited Wemby was to get drafted to the Spurs, largely because he was excited to be coached by Coach Pop. Now, moments after Popovich's decision to step down became public, the Spurs announced Mitch Johnson would succeed Papovich. Johnson becomes the franchise's 19th head coach. The 38-year-old will have an opportunity to shape a dynasty with Victor Wembanyama, Stephon Castle, and De'Aaron Fox at the core. Here's Johnson's statement. He expressed gratitude in the team's in this new role and says he'll give this responsibility everything he has to make Spurs fans proud. Yesterday up in Austin at UT's Mike A. Meyer Stadium, Randolph's Taylor Nunes did something never seen before. In her 4 events, long jump, 100 meter, 200 meter, and 4x400 meter relay, Nunes placed first in every event. That's 4 gold medals, making her the most decorated Texas high school track and field athlete of all time with 16 gold medals in her career.
It hasn't sunk in yet, it's been an accomplishment since freshman year when I won 4. And just knowing that I'm, the most decorated female athlete in Texas now, it is very surreal.
It really hasn't hit me yet, the emotions, because I wanted her to stay focused and not worry about her mom being an emotional mess. And now I can kind of just let go and just enjoy it and embrace it the next couple of days,
What an incredible accomplishment. Coming up 10 out of the night beat, we'll hear from her Randolph teammates on their dramatic finish in the 400-meter relay. That's something you don't want to miss. They made yesterday spectacular.
Be an emotional mess, Mom. It's time. She was a huge part of that, too. Congratulations to all of them. Thanks, Mary. Coming up after the break, the search for the person who vandalized the Robb Elementary Memorial in Uvalde is still continuing. How the city is responding to that vandalism to make sure this site will now always have eyes watching it. Next. We now know the name of a man who was killed yesterday in a mudslide in a sand pit in Atcosa County. The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office tells us he was Alan Herarte. Herarte died yesterday morning after that accident at this company, the Signal Peak Silica of Atcosa, that's near Poteet. The Atcosa Sheriff's Office tells us he was operating some heavy machinery in the bottom of a sand pit when that mudslide happened. They say Herarte was trapped and the mudslide made it difficult for first responders to reach him. City crews in Uvalde not wasting any time making sure that the memorial outside of Robb Elementary has some additional protection after it was vandalized. This morning, crews installed surveillance cameras there. Several crosses were turned around and knocked over sometime overnight Wednesday into Thursday. That memorial honors the 19 children and 2 teachers killed 3 years ago this month. DPS says the troopers have kept an eye on the school since then, but troopers stationed there yesterday did not notice anything suspicious. Former Uvalde mayor and now current state lawmaker Don McLaughlin is offering a $2,500 reward to find those responsible for that vandalism. In news around Texas now, a 28-year-old man from Kyle is in the Hays County Jail charged with murder in connection to a deadly fentanyl overdose. According to the Hays County Sheriff's Office, Alan Rodriguez was arrested after investigators identified him as a suspected fentanyl distributor involved in the death of a 50-year-old man back in December. Detectives say their investigation determined the man's death was related to the use of fentanyl. Rodriguez is also facing 5 additional unrelated charges. His bond is set at $777,000. The state of Texas could be adding a new city. Tomorrow, voters, mostly SpaceX employees who live in the area known as Starbase, will decide whether or not to incorporate and establish a small city government. Starbase is the location, of Elon Musk's space company launch site. Musk says that he plans to expand its footprint, even potentially moving SpaceX's headquarters to the area. Now, critics of the vote say that incorporating could allow SpaceX to skirt some regulations, but supporters say it will help ease the burden that the area puts on Cameron County. That vote, so far anyway, is expected to pass. China says the U.S. has reached out to start negotiating on tariffs. The possible motivation? Come midnight, any packages coming in from China and Hong Kong with a value of $800 or less will be subject to tariffs. For the first time, China is acknowledging there is movement in possibly negotiating. ABC's Perry Russum reports it comes as new job numbers were released today, and they're better than expected.
For the first time, China acknowledging the U.S. has reached out to start negotiations on tariffs. The process is still in its early stages. China, facing a tariff of 145%, says they are still evaluating the U.S. reaching out. It comes as the Trump administration is ramping up its trade war with China. Any packages coming in from China and Hong Kong with a value of $800 or less are now subject to tariffs. There are 4 million of what's called low-value packages a day. They now face a 120% tariff or $100 package fee. It will increase to $200 on June 1st. Meanwhile, new jobs numbers today show the U.S. added 177,000 jobs last month. The unemployment rate staying at 4.2%. Those numbers are better than expected. Labor Secretary Lori Chavez-DeRemer on CNN.
As we see the American worker, manufacturing jobs go up, transportation jobs go up, construction jobs month over month. So this is good for the American economy.
The White House today releasing their proposed budget for fiscal year 2026. It calls for $163 billion in cuts to federal spending. There are cuts to education, foreign aid, environment, and health programs, increases to defense and homeland security.
That budget proposal is basically a wish list from the White House. It's up to Congress to create and pass the budget. Then the president signs it. But this does give a better idea of what the administration is prioritizing. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
Other news making headlines today. The federal criminal trial for Sean Diddy Combs is set to start on Monday. CNN is citing a source that says the central witness in the case is Casey Ventura, Combs' ex-girlfriend. Hotel surveillance footage of Ventura being beaten by Combs is included as evidence in this trial. She, along with at least 4 other accusers, are expected to testify. The judge is reportedly allowing the other alleged victims to testify under pseudonyms to protect their identities. Combs faces charges of sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution, and racketeering. Preparations for the conclave are underway in Vatican City. Today, workers with the Vatican's fire brigade were photographed installing a chimney on the roof of the Sistine Chapel. Next week, on May 7th, the conclave to choose Pope Francis's successor will begin. That chimney will be used, of course, to signal to the world when a new pope has been elected. Black smoke coming from the chimney means there is not a successor. White smoke means the Roman Catholic Church has named a new leader. The Vatican has already stated that one vote will be held on Wednesday, and if a new pope is not elected the following days of the conclave, there will be 2 rounds of voting in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. Tomorrow night, downtown will swell with thousands of people looking for a place to watch the grand event in person. At 8 o'clock, the Fiesta Flambo parade kicks off. The Fiesta San Antonio Commission proudly shares that Flambo is the nation's largest illuminated night parade, and it's just a whole lot of fun. The theme for this year's parade, Deep in the Arts of Texas. If you aren't able to make it downtown, you can still enjoy all the festivities and excitement by watching it right here on KSAT. Join Stefania Jimenez and Ernie Zuniga at 7 o'clock for our pre-show, and then settle in as they bring you the sights and sounds of Flambeau at 8 o'clock. You can also watch the Flambeau parade in Spanish on the KSAT Plus app. Another Fiesta favorite that specifically includes fur babies is also happening tomorrow. The Fiesta Pooch Parade. That's set to take place from 7:30 in the morning until noon at the Alamo Heights swimming pool. The Pooch Parade is a 2.4-mile walk with dogs and their owners all dressed up in their best Fiesta attire. KSAT will be streaming that event, and our Daniela Ibarra will be out there tomorrow giving you some live coverage. So here's what you need to know before you head out.
When Bacon and Teddy show up, you can't help but smile. Their sloppy kisses are healing.
I can feel my blood pressure drop just sitting here and getting her attention and giving her attention.
This week, the attention will be amplified.
Bacon is King and Barkio this year, so she is going to lead Fiesta Pooch Parade for us.
It's a high honor for the gentle giant.
She's ready. She's prepared. I've rested her up for it.
She's even got her own medal.
Oh,
next year, Teddy will begin her reign.
As King in Waiting, she assists Bacon, our King in Barkio, with all of the responsibilities.
Whether they're in royal regalia or at a child's bedside, they're used to making people happy. They're volunteers with Therapy Animals of San Antonio.
She loves going to schools and school events. She goes to nursing homes a lot.
It's the best job ever. Changing lives, but I get to hang out with my dog at the same time.
Yeah. The best job for the best buds. Daniela Ibarra, KSAT 12 News.
As we head to break here, this is a live look from Niosa and the skies overhead. It's happening right now in La Villita. Still a crowd out there despite those storm chances. Adam Caskey is tracking what's on the radar and what's to come. We'll have more on that weekend Fiesta forecast right after the break. You're headed out on this Friday night to some Fiesta events, perhaps. We'll take a look before you step outside. We got some dark clouds out there. Adam, how are these storms shaping up so far?
Well, right now we're seeing development just to the northwest of San Antonio, and this is what we're expecting to continue to happen. These showers and storms coming and going, popping up and dissipating and moving around. Right now, most notably, northern Bexar County, far west side, and even in Medina County, we have some new development that's starting to track eastward. A little bit of lightning associated with that. The brunt of it, though, is over Canyon Lake right now. And this is where we could have some hail about the size of quarters and even a 60-mile-per-hour gust or two, especially moving into Hallettsville. More on the timing of the rain and when it's out of here in just a bit.
All right, we're talking about these storms, watching what's out there on the radar. And of course, Adam, it's all about timing. So when do we think all of this is going to get out of here?
Well, I think by midnight, 1 a.m., it's all far south and southeast of San Antonio and out of here. I want to show you what these downpours and storms are capable of just in terms of rain. So you see this small hail. This is out in Seguin on Lily Glade Lane. I like the way that rolls off the tongue. But you can see how we have the street flooding going on this particular road. I mean, drainage varies from neighborhood to neighborhood. This is a classic sight, too, seeing the empty bins getting carried away down the street with the rushing water of the downpours. Okay, right now we don't have any severe thunderstorms in our local area. You head off to the east and just south of I-10 in northern Lavaca County and eastern Gonzales County. This is just outside of Shiner. This is just north of Shiner. You have this yellow polygon. This includes Hallettsville. Could have some quarter-size hail and even wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. Moulton here included. This is 95. It's coming down really hard here. Highway 95 southward, Moulton to Shiner, and even from I-10, and a little bit of hail embedded within there. That's headed off to the east and southeast. So that's moving into Lavaca County. Let's get closer to town here. Guadalupe County. Some non-severe, non-damaging downpours with obviously some lightning. You see all these white lightning strikes and even a little bit of small hail suspended in there. For the moment, it's small hail, and the severe thunderstorm warning Canyon Lake has been dropped. This is just good soaking rain around Comal County that's moving to the southeast at about 15 miles per hour. I'll put this into motion. Actually, these storms, they're kind of unique where a lot of them are moving and propagating in different directions and at different speeds. But what we're watching locally is some of this action that's just been struggling to develop in northern Bexar County and the far north side of San Antonio, and then in Medina County here, particularly this little cell that looks like it's split apart. This right mover is the one that could become strong. It's over Rio Medina. We'll watch it right now. Just a little bit of lightning within that. You see those 2 lightning strikes, but it's when you see the lightning really multiply quickly that the storm is strengthening. That's always a clear sign. That's headed to the southeast. So let's just say, let's go to Lackland at about 7:37 p.m., assuming it stays on track for Lackland there, and then Leon Valley. That would be at 7:20 p.m. So we'll be watching these. We'll be live on the KSAT Weather Authority app, KSAT Plus. You know the drill, and on air as needed. And then we have the severe thunderstorms, Valverde County into Edwards County. Going through the evening, more of this development coming and going. Hail, wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, the primary threats. By midnight, vast majority of it is out of San Antonio and out of here, and then we'll have a dry spell for the weekend before rain chances come back into the picture on Monday. 66 in the morning, only 79 tomorrow afternoon. We're going to be in the 70s during the day with low humidity and a northeasterly wind. Look at Sunday morning, 58 degrees. So during Flambeau on Saturday, we'll be falling through the 70s into the upper 60s. Sunday morning, we wake up to 58. And then 82 Sunday afternoon with that sunshine, and next week unsettled again.
Of course, the weather's fantastic when you and I aren't on the parade route.
Right? It's been a while. I mean, this is the first time in a while we're not going to be out there.
All right, thanks, Adam. We'll be right back. Just a few minutes away from 7 o'clock now when our KSAT Sports Now streaming show begins. Let's go to Mary Rominger, who is in the newsroom, and plans for the show certainly changed today after Pop's big news, Mary.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, Myra. Coming up at 7, the Coach Pop and Mitch Johnson news takes over the first part of our show. We're looking at the news from all angles, and Sports Director Larry Ramirez will join in to reflect on his decades covering Pop as a media member. We're also talking SAFC, Brahmas, missions, Ramon Cardenas' fight, and much more. And hey, while we have you, let's take a look at our poll question for KSAT Sports Now. Are you happy with the decision to promote Mitch Johnson to replace Coach Pop, the Spurs decision? Yes or no? Vote now at ksat.com/sports/poll, or you can use the QR code right there on your screen, and we'll have the results during KSAT Sports Now, which again begins at 7 o'clock on our streaming platform. So a lot to get to, Myra. It's definitely a show you'll want to tune into.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see the results of that poll. The reaction we got from along the Battle of Flowers parade route today seemed to be pretty positive. So we'll see what the poll says, Mary.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Sports Now starts at 7 again, like Mary mentioned, on all of our streaming platforms. We'll be right back. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight after this newscast. Shark Tank is on at 7. Then at 8 o'clock, we have 2020. Followed by the Night Beach right back here at 10 o'clock. We hope you'll join us then. Adam.
All right, so we're watching that little bit of development around Bexar County, which is having a hard time really sustaining itself. And we think one reason is the outflow boundary that moved through from one of the thunderstorms near New Braunfels earlier that stabilized our atmosphere a little bit. Still seeing some showers, but The odds of these ones turning really strong are starting to drop off, and the outflow boundary actually right now is right roughly from Stockdale to Elmendorf to Somerset, and that could still trigger some of its own showers, but we're seeing more activity fill in off to the west, and just watching the scattered showers and storms as some of these out west can move their way to the south and east eventually as well, especially with more development to the south and east toward Highway 90. So just a lot to watch in the coming hours, and of course we'll stay on top of it. Have your phone handy if you're venturing out, enable the notifications, and we'll hop on there live as needed.
All right, thank you, Adam. Thanks for joining us on this Fiesta Friday. Have a great weekend. Don't forget Election Day is tomorrow. We'll see you for results tomorrow night.